Hey guys, so these are a couple of the parts that we're going to need for our assembly. This is the Autometer 3209 and it's a tachometer shock strap to mount these for your car, but somebody on the HD forums actually recommended this to hold the speedo in its new spot. I got mine, again it's the Autometer 3209, and I got mine on Amazon.com for 16 bucks. But you can get them all over the web, and I'm sure you can go to your local auto parts store and get one there too. This is going to be the new clamp, and this is going to be replacing the old one. This one here. This is going to be the new one. As you can see, it's just this part right here. And that's part number 56115-95, and that's an official Harley-Davidson part. So I actually just got at the Harley shop. After taxes and everything, it came out to 36 and change. Again, 56115-95. So I took the clamp that I just told you guys about, and I drilled out these two holes to be 19/64ths of an inch, or I used a 19/64ths of an inch drill bit. The metal's not that hard, so I actually just used a regular drill bit. I didn't have to use a special metal one. I also loosened these bolts up here, and that way it'll give me the space I need to go ahead and put the speedo in there. So you just take the speedo off, or excuse me, take it apart. Take this back rubber surround off, and go ahead and stick it in the way that's going to be best for you. After I drill this, I pre-size it there to make sure that it would have a good clearance and stuff like that, and everything looks good. So I'm just going to go stick it in there. Alright. Then I'm going to take the back one and put it on the back here. These two little pieces line up right there, just like that. And it's almost a perfect fit. Just to see the way that it looks now, you can see this is going to go right on there, and it's going to be almost a perfect fit. I'm going to leave this part off now, though. I'm going to leave the back off because eventually, of course, I'm going to want to plug the wires back in so that it could be a working speedo before I put it all back together. So I got it in there, got it nice and snug, and now I'm just going to go ahead and stick it on. And I'm going to put it here on the first bolt, so that way it can clear the forks here. Because I did size it a little bit, and it's going to be, let's just say it's going to be a tight fit, but it'll be good. After that, I'm going to put some Threadlocker on the bolt that goes on here. I'm going to put this on here, screw it on, put the bolt on there, and it's going to be good. I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. So here's what I got so far for the speedo. I went ahead and put it on there, tightened it up. A couple things to note. The first thing is, don't tighten this bolt or the one underneath, see, or else it won't wiggle, until you first got this bolt back on there and tighten that up. Because when I put my wrench in here, auto wrench or whatever the hell it's called, it didn't work unless I move this all the way forward. So I move this all the way forward, tighten this up. I put some Threadlocker on it to make sure that the vibrations won't roll it back off, and I just wrenched it up real tight. And then I put this back on there, so that's what that looks like so far. Alright, and then next, what I need to do is to reroute the wires, this little harness that's going to go back down there. So I took off these two bolts here, and this eyebrow as well as the whole light just comes straight off like that. And that's going to give me the access I need to do what I need to do. So next, I got a knife here, and very carefully, so I don't cut any wires, I'm going to go ahead and cut through this sheath, which is holding the dummy lights cluster as well as the speedo cluster together. And it's not a big deal. Just going to cut through it real softly and make sure I don't cut through anything else. And I might end up having to pause the video and going to get something a little heavier duty to use to cut through it. No, got it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one out. I feel like I'm talking about food here. I'm going to get the chicken and I'm going to knead it, Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one out, and I'm going to route it down to the speedo, the one that I need. And then I'm just going to use some electrician's tape to tape that back up and to protect any other wires that might be exposed, either on either of the two clusters. So I think this is enough space here. Just give it a little bit more. And that'll definitely be enough for me to just take this out, put it down here, and put it there. Then I can screw the back on of the speedo cable. Once I plug this all in here, I can screw the back on. It's going to be nice. And then I can just use some electrician's tape to cover up any of the exposed wires here. And then I'll just screw the headlamp back on, and that part will be done. And then after that, it's pretty much just getting my new bar, which should come in by Saturday. Put the new bar on there, tighten up the clamp, and then I'm going to get some super heavy duty tape, which some guys on the forums said works wonders. Even though it's just tape, supposedly it never even comes off. I'll probably put a little tape here to make sure that this just looks more like one piece, and mount it just like that right on there. And I was even thinking about putting the lights maybe through the top of this eyebrow here. There's a nice hole there, but I'm not sure if it'll fit, so I'll update you with whatever I end up doing. Thanks, guys. So I pretty much finished up what I said I was going to do. Let me turn on the flash here. I went ahead and put the back on, pretty much for everything, including the gas tank bolt, as well as these little bolts here that hold this back piece in. I put a Threadlocker on it. Alright, this is the relocated cluster of wires for the speedo, and as you can see, all I did was, after I cut it, I went ahead and put some of the electrician's tape on there just to give it a nice good seal, keep it clean and all that. Alright, I left this cluster up here for the dummy lights, which are eventually, like I said, they're going to just go right there. And just put this back on. I even put some LocTite in there and in there. And if you were just watching a few minutes ago or a few seconds ago, when you take this eyebrow off, this is actually screwed into here. So when you take this off, just be prepared that this is going to come off with it. Just be gentle with it. Lay it down gently so it doesn't scratch up anything. And when you're finished, just throw some LocTite on there and lock those bad boys back up. So now I'm going to start it off, and just make sure that it's working. And if it's not, I'll feel foolish. But everything should be fine. So you see the dummy lights are still going. Luckily I didn't cut through those. Got them on right. Perfect. Put it in neutral. My speedo's working here. There was a very little bit of vibration. I don't know if you were paying attention, but I put my hand on here when it was going, and it's vibrating a lot less than the rest of the bike. This is a shock-resistant clamp, so I'm sure that absorbs some of it. But also, I think that this is just a good location for it because it's just not vibrating that much. So once it's on there, you shouldn't have much to worry about. Now, if you are a metal fabricator, or you know a metal fabricator, or just someone who's good like that, you can get them to make a little bit better of a deal for you. Here you can see I got a little gap. I'm just going to close that with some of the electrician's tape just so it doesn't look bad, but I think it's pretty much harmless. You know, since I got my bike, there was always a little bit of humidity right in the speedo, so obviously it wasn't a watertight seal coming from the Harley factory, and I don't think that's going to be a problem as long as I'm not going through any rivers or anything like that. I think it'll be fine. So if you have any questions, feel free to message me or to post. I'll answer any questions I can, and I'll show you the bike again on Saturday or Sunday after I get the flat bar put out. For anyone who has any questions about that, In my next post, I'll go ahead and let you know the guy that I got them from. Really good customer service on eBay. Buy it now for 36 something. I paid 15 extra for priority shipping, but in the buy it now price that includes standard shipping. I just wanted mine by the weekend, and I'll show you that. It's a 28-inch bar. It's dimpled and has 0 rise. I think a 3.5 pullback, 3.5-4-inch pullback, something like that. And we'll see how it fits on there. Oh yeah, and it's a 1-inch diameter pipe. So I'll be back with you guys soon.